Hello, everyone. Welcome back to FPL Jedi Show. This is Gameweek 8 Deadline Stream. My name is Hafiz. And as usual, would like to welcome my buddy to the stream. Azmin, how's your feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling really good. We can't wait for the season to start off again. And we still have. I think until the end of the year, there's still one more international break. I think, yeah. So, yeah, but let's get to it, man. I hate these international breaks, seriously.
All right, as you all know, the international break is over. There's a lot of team news and pressure by the managers yesterday, and we'll definitely want to catch up what they've been saying, and we'll definitely want to shape up our team based on their um, what the managers have been saying, and we'll just take a note in terms of one or two things. So the headline for this week, okay, later we touch on Saka and Havertz, and definitely on the Liverpool players, man, because there's some doubtful, and especially on Alisson situation. So I think
Yep.
let's jump straight into this game week 8. Quickly on the fixture for this week, early kickoff will be the London Derby, Spurs versus West Ham. Then after that, followed up by 5 matches at 10 p.m. Malaysian time. Fulham versus Aston Villa, Ipswich versus Everton, Manchester United versus Brentford, Newcastle versus Brighton, and also the two promoter sides, Southampton and Leicester, will face each other. On the midnight, Saturday, Watford versus Arsenal. And then on Sunday, we have Wolves versus Man City, with the big match between Liverpool and Chelsea. Before we close up game week 8 with Monday night match, Forest versus Crystal Palace. So let's jump for the first team news, main for Spurs and West Ham. What have been Postecoglou and Lopetegui mentioned in their presser?
Well, Spurs. Okay, so Son, he didn't play for the Korean national team, and according to Angie, he's really disappointed that he wasn't able to play. And we know that Son, yeah, when it comes to playing for his national team, he loves it. But I guess for us, we're probably happy that he's not playing with the national team, and he was able to train really well. And based on what Angie says, he should be ready to go. And it's and to a different extent also Richarlison as well. Of course, Richarlison, he should be fine as well. And similarly, he didn't go out for internationals, so it's all right. But of course, he hasn't been playing for quite a while now. But looks like he's also ready to go. And just it does raise a question as to how they will line up though. And if you look at that lineup though, it does look like regardless of Richardson being fit, it still be Son on the left, and he'll be, and Solanke, Johnson should be there. So other than that, for Spurs, that lineup, yeah, that should be pretty much it. Those of us who still have Poro, and I think a couple of us are chancing with Van der Ven after his blistering run and goal, blistering run and nice assist to Johnson last time. Yeah. So, but of course, Kulusevski continues to be talked about as an FPL option. Yeah, so that's something if you're looking at midfield. For West Ham, there's no real changes. It's just that fully West Ham's new signings still not ready to go. Yeah, so it looks like Antonio Kudus and Bowen will start. Although there is, I've been reading a lot of forums in terms of West Ham forums, and a lot of the forums seems to push for Kudus to start up front because with his pace and his style, he's probably better, but whether or not that's something that Julian Lopetegui will do, it's probably unlikely. So yeah, so that's it for West Ham. Yeah, that's it for West Ham.
Yeah, I suppose around this lineup, the most important thing is on the Sun news, and we can see on the predicted lineup. Son feature on the left side. If not, a Werner will come in. So that's about it for Spurs and West Ham. Let's go to the next match, man, which is Fulham versus Villa. There's definitely managers who still holding to Fulham and also Villa assets. So what's the latest news from both managers?
So, simple one for Fulham. We know that Anderson is fit. But the Lukic and Timothy Castagna has returned injured apparently. So Castagna has played on the right, is now going to be replaced by Tete. But other than that, Jimenez, Robinson, and maybe not so much Calvin Bessie, but he will be our key players who are all okay to play. And Anderson is fit as well. So we know that Fulham have defensively, they've been much better this season. So it should be a really interesting match to watch and to follow to see whether they can continue to keep it up. We know that they're one of the few teams who managed to nullify Eric Haaland, but of course, City ended up scoring through other means, Kovacic specifically. But other than that, they're fine, and it'll be good to watch. So for Ming, he is already fried as well. So it does make an interesting question now as to how Villa will line up, because we know that Villa's defense, although it's not, the stats show that it's not as bad as it sometimes makes out to be, but they do tend to concede. Yeah, so we don't know there'll be any reshufflings in the lineup. We're not sure. But other than that, everyone is, aside from Olsen, everyone is pretty much fit. So there are questions as to how they're going to line up, and Rodgers playing at behind Watkins is something a lot of us would like to see. But of course, Onana, who did not play against United, he will play. So that will be, I think Villa did miss him, so I think we're gonna see a much better game. But it is against Fulham, so again, it'll be an interesting match. I can't really. It's a bit hard for me to call this one.
All right, we can see that, especially from Marco Silva mentioned about the people who are returning from international duty, the likes of Jimenez, Robinson should be okay. For Villa, I think it's a boost, especially we can see that in the perimeter lineup, the likes of McGinn, Onana return to the side. We expect a better, even Konsa, I think, is cleared to be available for this selection, which will be definitely good for Unai Emery and Aston Villa. All right, that's for Fulham versus Villa. So I think it's fine if you have Watkins, Rodgers to play that for sure. And if you're interested to play Robinson or the likes of Emil Smith Rowe, I think
yeah, exactly. So ESR, because he, the theory after he was benched against City, but it was. I don't think people who have ESR need to worry at all, because it was really tactical. But it does raise the question of if they play against some of the stronger teams like Liverpool, is Marco Silva going to do the same? Yeah, but other than that, I wouldn't worry.
Next match, man, Ipswich versus Everton. Also interest in terms of people who are wildcarding, thinking about bringing the likes of Ipswich asset and also Everton. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Right. So hang on a sec. Okay. So I missed my screen. Okay. So Ipswich. So Tuan Zembe, man, what on earth happened there? It's these things happen. Obviously. You could argue that just losing a thumb he can play, but not really. So it's a real disaster there. He'll be out for months. Yeah. So apparently he almost lost it, but then he didn't. He should be okay, but he's going to be out. And for those of you who don't know, he was washing dishes at home.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, that was it. He was washing dishes at home. Okay, so anyway, so other than that, everyone, the people who have Anthony Greaves, people who have Davis they should be fine to start. So no issues there. This is a very tricky match. This is something that both teams are desperate to win this matchup. So let's take a look at Everton. So Everton, as we know, that Mykolenko and Brantwaite didn't make the last game, which was against Newcastle, but we thought that Everton would collapse, but surprisingly, they managed to eke out a draw 0-0. So without Brantwaite, because the week before, the moment with Brantwaite coming back, Everton won. Now without Brantwaite, it seems Brantwaite, it could be really key. However, right now, based on the current injury news, Brantwaite isn't likely to be ready. We don't know. It might be a last minute call. Not, but of course, if you don't have him, you should be looking to pick him, because we don't really know. There might be a last late fitness testing. But Mykolenko looks good. Mykolenko should be ready. So I expect Mykolenko to immediately go into the starting lineup if he's okay. So those of you with McNeil and Calvert-Lewin, I think with those of us with Calvert-Lewin are losing a bit of patience. But of course, against Ipswich, you have to, it's hard for you to sell him now. You think that Ipswich has been so porous. So you think that you'll want to keep him against Ipswich.
All right, so I think pretty much fine for Ipswich other than Tuanzebe. For Everton, Mykolenko should be back. Tarkowski, less clear, but if let's say he missed, Keane could easily slot in partner with Tarkowski at the heart of the defense.
Yeah. Right. So just one thing for Tuanzebe. So with Tuanzebe out, Ben Johnson comes in, and how much is that guy? Actually,
I think 4.5 lesser now, maybe because I had him at the early of the season.
So let's see if he can do well, and and if he helps Ipswich performance, so it might be an interesting pick if he does well.
All right, next game in important match for Manchester United team, especially they are really struggling before the international break. Ten Hag is under pressure to perform, and it's against Brentford. It's not an easy meet for sure. So what the latest team news for both teams?
So for Manchester United is really about so Mazraoui is out, but so Manu and Harry Maguire out for a couple of weeks. So the absence of Manu means that Eriksen comes into the lineup, and I don't know if that's a good thing for Bruno Fernandes, because Manu covers a lot of ground. Eriksen is not going to be able to do that. So, and Casemiro, he's so fragile these days. So who knows what's going to happen. Anyway, for Brentford, on Manchester United, no one else is going to be ready to return. So for Brentford, interesting. Now Wissa is back on the grass. Of course, I don't think he'll be available just yet, but it does raise a question and how Frank will line up the team. So Rico Henry is also having a couple of games during the international break, but he won't be ready. So now, my question now is with Wissa. Of course, Brentford did trash Wolves 5-3, but regardless, if Wissa is okay, then you would expect him to go straight into the lineup, but maybe not this week. Yeah, but it is something to think about. Now, if you look at the predicted lineup, there's one guy who's not there, which is Carvalho. So Carvalho is a nice cheap pick to have, but whether or not he'll continue, because you've got Damsgaard and Norgard also available to play as well. So Norgard, who was injured, Christian Norgard was injured previously. So we know that Norgard was quite important to the team in terms of helping to really secure the clean sheet and solidify the defense. So there is a bit of risk with those who have Carvalho at the moment.
Right. Okay. So both team, I think Manchester United clearly In terms of Mazraoui, Ten Hag did mention he should be available for the selection. You can see, despite he's actually doing a minor heart surgery during the break, he is predicted to start this weekend, but we shall see in terms of that. Other than that, Mino not in, but Casemiro and Alisson will be placed just up front from Manchester United defense. Other will be definitely usual suspect. Nice news on Visa, but I don't think we expect him to start this week. All right, cool. Next game, man. Newcastle Brighton. I think we already know about Newcastle and Brighton do need points to put that on the league table. So both teams also, especially from Eddie Howe, what's the latest news for both teams?
Okay, so Isaac looks like he's going to be back. So he's ready. He may be, he's trained since the start of the week, according to Howie. So it's going to be, I think they would like him to be back. So that Anthony Gordon is nice having him as striker for FPL, but we all know that Newcastle will perform much better with Isaac up front and Anthony Gordon in his preferred position on the left. Yeah, well, for Callum Wilson, he's not going to be available so soon. He's still going on a day-to-day. It's quite par for the course where Callum is concerned. The only thing is Kieran Trippier is going to be out for quite a while. So he picked up a hamstring injury. So that means that Livramento will come in. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not, he could be a viable FPL pick. But a few weeks. But it's a hamstring. Howie claims that he doesn't think it's too serious, but maybe enough all the way up to the next international break. So those of you who are looking to wild card after the next international break might consider having Livramento as a GP. Okay, so Brighton. We the main thing is that don't know anyone still has Juan Pedro, but he is still out. So you got Webster and Riley out as well. So the Brighton lineup is always a bit of a enigma, I guess. So you got Rutter and Adingra available for selection, but in this case, Adingra isn't there in the starting lineup. With Minte, who scored last week, you'd expect him to keep his place over Adingra, but it's a really tough call. So if you wanted to have someone, the most consistent person is actually Welbeck. So but it'd be an interesting game, this one as well. So it is dependent. I think we've seen that Newcastle's midfield can be quite solid. We've seen them hold off Manchester City, for example, to see whether they execute the same tactics. Maybe not, because Brighton don't have a Haaland style player to worry about. But they are capable defensively, and I'm quite impressed to see that. Tonali, now that he's really with the team, he's really capable of really helping shore out that midfield, and he has helped improve Guimaraes, who at the start of the season he suffered from a bit of lack of form, but I think a few weeks now, and I think that Newcastle defense is looking good again.
Right, I think key takeaways from the suppressor, Isaac should be returning, and also on the Brighton side, Van Hag coming back from the heart. In the middle of defense, partnering back with Dunk. I think that's the boost from Brighton.
Yeah.
Next match, man, important match. Southampton versus Leicester, especially for Southampton, because they have been sitting at the end of the table right now, sharing same point with Wolves. 1 point. Leicester a little bit comfortable at 16th place. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Yeah, so Southampton, it is a question of, Ross Stewart, the striker, will not serious, but, with Archer and Dibbling having returned recently, so they should be expected to start. So Dibbling, those of us who are punting on Dibbling, he definitely shouldn't. He definitely will start, so let's see how he goes. For Leicester, so Vestergaard ended, despite being not ready, but he is back fit and played twice for Denmark, not 19 minutes all the way up. but he should be okay. One thing that's not mentioned here, because we've been looking at Buonanotte as a possible option. We do know that Buonanotte scored last week in that 1-0 win. Then he gets called up for Argentina, late last minute call, but he didn't get any minutes in the last game, so he didn't get a goal. He didn't go on. Having said that, it was a Wednesday morning England time where he played. So Wednesday morning Malaysia time when he played. so you have to assess that lah. With I don't think that I haven't seen on Twitter any tracking of planes, so it's not as critical as Pedro last time. But definitely, it's someone that people are looking at, especially with regards to playing against Southampton. So if so you need to assess that and decide whether or not you want to bring him in as a good punt. Yeah, and I think that Buonanotte is going to be important for Leicester's gradual improvement. We've seen some improvement recently, so let's see.
I think both things are important, especially on the Southampton side. There's desperate want to record their first win, especially with Leicester. I think if we have Leicester asset, Southampton asset, we just roll the dice and play in this game. All right, good stuff. Next game, important one, all eyes on Arsenal and Arteta team news, because we want to know about Saka, Havertz, and the rest of the team. So what's the latest news, especially for Arsenal?
Yeah, so for Bournemouth, no real issue. Everyone is available. So the likes of Kluivert, although he's not in this starting lineup here, but he's only not played once. So we don't know I don't know how you pronounce the guy's name. Ouattara will play instead of Kluivert. I'm not sure, but that is not that many of us will have Kluivert anyway, despite him seemingly possibly taking penalties. But other than that, Bournemouth, they're a decent side. So now they're playing Arsenal. So this is like the last favorable match for those who started off Gameweek 6 with their wild card. So this is the third match where they're hoping that their Arsenal assets will be worth the investment. So a lot of noise about Saka. Arteta said it's not a serious injury. We are hopeful. And if you remember, Lee Carsley, the former England manager, who's now been replaced by Tuchel since the last time we had our stream. So even then, Lee Carsley, by not playing him for the second England match, he said, we just taking precaution. We didn't think it was necessary. It doesn't think too bad. So I looked this morning, and there were pictures of Arsenal, because Arsenal were traveling. You see, so they picture of them arriving. Yeah, so there's one guy. So they didn't quite see Saka, but there was this one guy who was in a hoodie. So they tried to debate: is this Saka or is this Justin Timber? So that's both who are on the doubtful list. So it is a big question now. But Martinelli, we do know he is out. Havertz trained well, so Havertz did travel, so we know he's traveled, so he should be ready. Given that he traveled, I don't see why he shouldn't.
All right.
Chance. Zinchenko and White will also seen arriving as well. So let's see how we go. But the thing is, you got Calafiori who definitely is impressing as well. At the same time, one more thing is that Mikel Merino, so he could be ready for the start of the season. He did get some more minutes in for Spain. You see, Spain, yeah. So for Spain, so he could be ready. So, sorry, just now did I mention Martinelli? So Martinelli, also one of the hopefuls to be fit. Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of
what do you think in terms of prospect, Havertz and Saka, they should start?
on a personal note, I don't want them to start lah because I don't have it. But but I think they will start. I do think they will start. Yeah. So there was a comment on Twitter that said even if Saka passed away and he was burnt into ashes, they would still Arteta would still start his urn. His urn would start the lineup. So it's a poor joke, I know, and apologies to those who think you're making death jokes about Saka, but it's just the mentality of how much Arteta values Saka, and if he's okay, if not too much issue, then we could see him start. Havertz has been great for Arsenal. I think although he's not exactly a pure striker in the normal sense of the word, but he's doing great. And previously the concern was without Odegaard, Havertz would go into a more withdrawn role. So we've seen that it doesn't it doesn't affect his points. He's still able to score and he's tip top at the moment. So yeah. Well done to those of you who have Havertz.
All right. Tadi mention about he's hopeful that Saka and Havertz to play this week. I'm also hopeful that Saka and Havertz will be play and the rest of media who own those players. All right. Let's go to the next team. Both versus Man City. There's also interest on Man City assets, especially on Haaland. No surprise, 70% owned by managers. What's the latest news for both teams?
Right. So this is the one where most people's captaincy hopes are on. So Wolves' Huang Hee-chan ended up getting injured on international duty, but he's no longer really a first choice at the moment. So, but other than that, everyone else is fit. And there's been a lot of talk during the international break. We're looking at jumping on Cunha in Gameweek 9, although people have postulated, is it worthwhile if you have the transfers and whether or not it's worth bringing him in now, or even those of you who are on wildcard considering bringing in Cunha now? And my answer to that is that I think it's definitely viable, and of course those who looking to bring him on the wildcard are probably going to bench him, but I think that starting him might not be a bad idea, because City doesn't seem to be that defensively solid at the moment. Although they still end up winning, but they're conceding goals. They scored. Fulham managed to score 2 goals past them, for example. So that is something that for you to consider. So for Man City, it looks like KDB is going to be ready, although he did mention that Ake might be available, might be better. So let's see how that goes. Other than that, everyone else should be all right. It's just a question. I think Foden is being talked of as the next possible pick for those who are looking to triple up for City in this run of really decent fixtures. So I'm assuming most of you who are looking to triple up already have either Lewis or Guardiola. And looking for that third option. So yeah.
Right. Just to add up, in terms of projected goals and clean sheet, Man City is having the highest for this week, 2.55 goals predicted, and also 42% odds for clean sheet. So Man City are really, really good in terms of odds for this week against, even though away to Wolves.
And just to mention, sorry, coming back to City for a minute, sorry, Hafiz. So we do know that at the last international break, after the match immediately after the international break, Guardiola did do some surprise benchings for those players who played twice for the team. Bernardo Silva, Jeremy Doku, and Guardiola, and even Diaz. So there's a bit of risk there for those of you who have any of these players. But let's see. I didn't check to see who has played twice. So you guys need to check and decide whether you need to alter your bench or shift your lineup. So
I mean, if you're picking any Man City, you should embrace that kind of rotation.
Just play, yeah, and accept that, right? Yeah,
Accept that. Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
The big match for this week, Liverpool versus Chelsea. I think this could be the first, in the community mentioned, the first red fixture faced by Liverpool. Okay, and for Chelsea after Man City, this the second tough match for Maresca. Ryan, so what's the latest news for both teams?
Right. So we do know that Alisson is out. So that's one South American we don't have to worry about flying back because we know he's been out. It does give me put Kelleher there as an interesting option, especially for those of you on wildcard. But to be fair, Liverpool's fixtures aren't that attractive. So unless you see him doing a lot of saves, then it might not be. But I don't know at value, but it might not be worth burning a transfer just for that, unless you are cutting. So a few issues following the international break, and so this is where I'm trying to see Slot's pattern in terms of talking about his injuries, and he's at the moment he seems to be forthright. He seems to be honest so far. So we'll see what happens there. So we do not Chiesa, Elliott, McAllister, and Tsimikas are out, and they were name checked. Although to be fair, Liverpool versus Chelsea do play on Sunday, so we'll have to see. Andrew Robertson, who was benched in Gameweek 7, so he should be back at left back as well. So other than that, okay, so now we know that Slot doesn't have any problem rotating if he wants to. We do know that Nunes could make a return, but Nunes did play 180 minutes for Uruguay. Yeah, so I just can't see him coming up. And also, Nunes has not I think he's only started once this season, so that's not going to be an issue. Salah didn't play the second match. They decided that it wasn't worth it and it was a plastic pitch, so there was a bit of concern there, and let's face it, Salah isn't exactly young, so they felt like not necessary to risk him. So no issues with Salah. So the question now is, Jota and Diaz, are they the ones going to be start? So both Gakpo could easily come in as well, but of course, those of you who have Jota, I mean, it is against Chelsea, but okay. So before we assess,
Slot will feel his strongest team, and I believe Jota, Diaz, and Salah is the best.
Yes, and the thing with Chelsea are missing Fofana and Cucurella, so there is some disruption to their back line. So you got Tosin and Renato Vega. Can you tell me anything about this Vega, Hafiz?
I mean, that's the latest signing this season. That he's still young chap, but he's more favored than Chilwell at this juncture for Maresca.
True. Yeah. So Salah versus Vega, that should be an interesting moment. So Enzo is not going to play, most likely, right? But we'll see how that goes. No. Sorry, Enzo should play. Enzo Fernandez, yeah. But of course, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo did come back late, and they did play quite a bit of time for the respective countries, South American countries. But yeah, that lineup, I kind of agree with that lineup. So now, quickly in terms of the chances, this could be I'm looking forward to this matchup. I think because I really want to see how Liverpool performs against a team like Chelsea. They are at home. That's the great thing, is that and they're at Anfield, so otherwise I'd be a bit more worried. So let's see what happens here. I do feel that Liverpool are going to be the stronger team first and score first, and Chelsea are going to have to do a comeback. Yeah. So because
Yep.
I mean purely because of the absence of the two of their mainstays in defense. Yeah, but they are capable of doing a good comeback, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Yep. I just read out some prediction for this. BBC Sport predict Liverpool to win this 2-1, a close match. And in terms of odds, Liverpool goal 2.20 and then clean sheet at 27%. So it means that this could be a really a good game that people would, I think Maresca and Slot would definitely have a go and try to win this game. And I think this is also important, main in terms of FPL perspective, because there's managers who having Liverpool assets. If they hold, they want to see what happened to this match into the likes of TAA, Salah, Jota, Luis Diaz. And for Chelsea, especially people who are thinking whether to jump to Palmer, thinking this match, if that scenario happens, say Palmer score in this game, is definitely solidified that you will need to have Palmer moving forward, that I believe. And if let's say Liverpool kept a clean sheet against Chelsea, you will rethink whether you want to ship out the likes of TAA from your team. So that's what I feel. It is important, at least for FPL perspective.
Yes, and the thing with and you mentioned TAA, so there's been quite a bit of discussion on TAA on the Twitterverse and Facebook right now in terms of is he really worth the price at the moment? Is he coming out with the output? And the common consensus is currently no. So but as I mentioned during the early week stream, we talked I was frustration about seeing him score for his country. So
so I just want to mention TAA is his top scoring defender at this juncture, 41 points.
Yeah, there you go. So that's causing people to still hold. Just one more thing, for those of you who have Jackson, he did play 150 minutes or so for Senegal. Of course, it's Africa and not South America, so not traveling issue. But Nkunku, who hasn't, really done anything during the international break, is there as a possible option. So we'll see. I do think Jackson will probably still start, but Nkunku will be coming quite early rather than later in the game.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right. Last match for us to review in. Definitely on the Forest versus Palace. I think Nono been banned from the touchline for this game, I think for 3 matches if I'm right. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Right, so we got Nuno banned from the touchline. We've got MGW suspended, and he was pictured on crutches anyway. Chris Wood, fresh from scoring against Malaysia, he returned quite early. So despite the long travel, but he should be fine. No issues there. Cells is a doubt.
Okay.
But apparently, supposedly, they've seen him in training. So someone's seen him in training. So I don't know. I haven't seen any pictures myself. But, the thing is, those of you who have cells and don't have a backup keeper, if it's just 1 week, I think you should just bite it. Bite the. I can't remember what the idiom is. Yeah, bite the bullet. Yeah, just bite the bullet, and for 1 week, and he should be okay next week, the following week. So okay, so and they're playing against Palace. So Palace have been they've been quite sad, really. They have not lived
bottom three.
Yeah, they have not lived up to their early preseason hype. Nowhere near. So it'd be interesting whether there'll be any shifts. So we saw Mateta being benched, but in the end it didn't against Liverpool, but that didn't really do anything. So we might see him come back to the starting lineup with Nketiah. So, but I don't know with Glasner whether he's going to persist with Nketiah. So it is a bit of a, of course, he did sanction the purchase of Nketiah, so he wants to back him and prove that he is right there. But not that many people who have Nketiah, of course, me being a rare person. But it'll be interesting to see whether Nketiah can live it up because he hasn't scored anything yet.
Yep.
Yeah. And on the other side, we got Eze, who I don't know. His stats are still there, and
Yeah.
he's got a decent
Agree.
fixture run at the moment. But I don't know. You
It's
guys
going to be
really.
tough for managers to bring him in, definitely.
I mean, those of you who still have him, I salute you, lah. You know, like what is it gonna take? Because of course, we see all the stats. Oh, he's looking good. He's due. But I don't know. Okay, so I just brought up his fixture. So you got Forest, which is considered really hard. But if Sal's isn't there, then there might be an issue. Of course, you got James Ward-Prowse, who got sent off last week. But then I don't think that's much of impact. JWP isn't the greatest of midfield defending. So he's out. So you got Forest, Spurs, Wolves, Fulham, and Aston Villa. So now that I look at it, it's not as great. Spurs, sure. Wolves, sure. But after that, Fulham and Villa are strong defenses, and then after that is Newcastle. Hell, sell. If you got Eze, sell. I don't think all his underlying stats is enough to justify. I'd sell him.
I just want to point out, if you have Chris Wood, you definitely play him this game. Despite the predicted score for this is 1-1. So we shall see whether can Palace really need to hold Forest, but they are at home. They are tough, and there's also people mentioning about trending or pattern of Chris Wood producing points, right? I mean, especially produce one game and after. So this should be the one that he deliver, right? So we shall see. Okay, man. We already conclude. Let's look at the top transfer traffic for this game week 8. Man, no surprise, can I say? Mr. Johnson, the Wales International's Spurs player at the top right now, 427,000, has brought him in. I think you can see on the other side for Luis Diaz, I suppose, because he's on the other side, the most transfer out for this week. Johnson has been on form, 3 goals and 1 assist for the past 3 games, and he actually scored also during his international duty. So there is more to like than not. Other than that, in the top 5, Mbomo, okay, despite Manchester United fixture, I think that is not scaring any managers. McNeil against Ipswich. Palmer, despite playing away to Liverpool, Palmer continued to perform. He did score 6 points last week. And James Justin, nice entry point against Southampton this week. Maybe that's the case for the top 5 transfer in. For top 5 transfer out, Luis Diaz, no surprise. 2 blank, back-to-back. On the bench last game. João Pedro, injury. Mazraoui, same case. Mo Salah, Tufan Palmer, I suppose, and Jackson, the same case, because the likes of Spurs has said that Solanke could be a better option moving forward. What you can make up from this transfer traffic, man?
Yeah, so it's quite a midfield movement, and ostensibly the Salah is to move back your screen.
Yeah, sorry.
Salah to Palmer seems to be looking like a popular option, and which is given that both teams are playing each other, and I do admit that I have looked at it and wondering whether it's just club loyalty that is stopping me from doing the same. Because to be fair, Salah has blanked for 2 games in a row now. Yeah, so it'll be in the dynamics will be interesting. I do like the fact that he didn't play the second game for the international break. Although given that they don't have to travel much, Palmer didn't have to travel much, so it's not a big deal anyway. It's not too far. So that's the main thing, Swivel. So if Salah were to haul and Palmer doesn't, then that's quite a big. Those of you who've kept on Salah could see quite a decent rank rise. But if Palmer continues to haul, then those of you who've hesitated because looking at the fixture run might just bring him in anyway, because that will give testimony to the hypothesis that Palmer is fixture proof. So
since you touch on that topic, Palmer now 50% owned by managers, Salah 38%.
5-0 Palmer.
Yep.
And Salah is 38. Okay, I because I really look at ownership, but oh wow, okay. But I guess I mean the other thing is that it does also give you more funds to play with. So yeah, if people have issues elsewhere, then it definitely works. Jackson being transferred out is a bit surprise, and you know, are they sacrificing him as part of the bid to bring Palmer in? So remove it's something else. So Pedro fine, Diaz not surprising given what happened last time. Mazraoui, well, that might have been premature because he is fit apparently. So he's because of the operation, but he's ready to go. But in terms of the transfers in, yep. So Justin James there, people, after Leicester also kept a clean sheet, so they're looking to solidify. And of course, this match is against Southampton, so it's a decent starting point to if Leicester are looking to improve. So, who did Leicester win? Oh, Bournemouth, wasn't it? 1-0 against Bournemouth.
Yep.
Last time. So Johnson, so this isn't the Ben Johnson of Ipswich fame, yeah. This is the Johnson of Spurs fame. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's such an easy entry point for those to bring in Johnson, right? The price is very friendly price, and
already rise to 6.6, but still decent.
Yeah, for those of you looking to improve your midfield, because Mbeumo is not as cheap, but yeah, he's definitely be looked at. He plays Manchester United this week, should be fine. But people also continue to bring in McNeil. I guess for those of wildcard, McNeil is definitely a good price at a great price point. I just while we're talking about these transfers, I just want to highlight because I did check in terms of 20 minutes ago they had a price revision.
Wow.
So Raya, Vardiol, Wood, and Solanke have gone up in price.
Wow.
So those are your four. I'm not going to worry about the
rest.
price followers. The price followers are Garnacho is the only one I can see of any significance. Or Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is now finally at 4.0. So if Konate ever gets injured, then Kwanzaa at 4.0 is just
really nice.
Crazy how his price dropped. It just keeps on dropping.
Yeah.
I don't understand this sometimes. Yeah, but anyway, so Guardiola Wood, we were talking about, we name check Wood just now. We name check Solanke there as well. So they both gone up in prices. So yeah, some additional yeah, I haven't. So So before we talk about our teams, then we can talk about our teams.
Okay. Quickly on the scout selection for this week, extract from Fantasy Football Scout, of course. The best team for this week, David Raya in goal. There is triple Spurs assets in this week lineup: Poro, Johnson, and Solanke at home against West Ham. I think really nice. We do have Arsenal assets in the form of Raya and Hafiz, but no Saka. I think we can discuss later. Salah in the team despite playing against Chelsea. And then we have two represented from Man City, Halle and Luis. Mbeumo away to Manchester United. And then Davies at home against Everton. Nice. He also ticked that box in terms of attacking defender. And Milinkovic potentially keeping a clean sheet against Crystal Palace. So what do you make it in terms of team selection for this week,
Yeah, for firstly, this flies against that ownership of Palmer thing because there's no Palmer in this, despite Palmer having a higher ownership than all of those Salah, Mbeumo, and Johnson, right? So that's something. Dibbling on the bench is expected. Yeah, I guess the question. So this selection assumes that Saka is not fit. So Raya and Havertz are there. Yeah, so I think it's all right. Solanke, who I've talked about a lot in the early week stream because I feel that he's already in a good place to really consistently get points. Haaland back there, it's hard to see him not to score against Wolves. I know there's a lot of there was some theories about can Wolves set up how Fulham or Newcastle did, but they just don't have the same level of discipline to do that. And hell, they conceded 5 against Brentford, for crying out loud. I think they will improve, but this stretch might be too far for them. So other than that, Lewis there is okay. Yeah, no issues there. I find it interesting that Davis is there. So Davis, obviously stats wise, he racks out a lot of good chances, but clean sheet wise is almost non-existent. So they do play Everton, so I guess they're looking for attacking returns, given that Brentford isn't back yet.
Yep. I think pretty much. I think triple up Spurs may be the way to go if, let's say, you can afford those specific, but especially for this week, Spurs are good. And Johnson is definitely someone that you should consider. The traffic shows that. And if you don't want Diaz, because Liverpool, we talk about in midweek in terms of matches, there definitely no midweek break for them. They play back to back, and definitely there'll be a lot of chop and change. We already see that slot doing for that. Gakpo, Nunes, Jota, even Luis Diaz are not safe from that.
Yeah. I just want to say that I don't like Porro. I don't think I sold Porro last week because I felt that the potential isn't there as much now, because with Solanke, Kulusevski, Johnson, and now Son all working together quite well. I don't think Porro should be in a final selection.
Next is our team selection, man. My team first. I do have 0.7 million in the bank to transfer. My mind is still the same. Okay. That I will roll my transfer and play my players. Flecker in goal, Gabriel, TAA, and Lewis in defense. And I'm also hopeful Saka and Hafiz will play this week. So that's where my mind right now. Saka, Mbomo, Luis Diaz, the most transfer out, but I do still have faith. Or because maybe another thing is I do not have his haul yet. So who knows against Chelsea, right? So he is still in. I do believe he will start. Rodgers away to Fulham. Nice. Haaland as my captain. DCL away to Ipswich. If this is the game that DCL should deliver. If not, he is definitely on the chopping block, I can imagine. Havertz away to Bournemouth. I'm benching Semenyo, playing at home against Arsenal. Greece and Mykolenko. If, let's say, Luis Diaz decided not to turn up, Semenyo against Arsenal not as bad, I feel, but that's my thinking right now, man.
Yeah. I think yeah. I think
you might actually do some transfer. Maybe Luis Diaz take out for Johnson. I think that's nice if you want to that. But I just want to hold it, see what happened in that Liverpool Chelsea. We already touched about that, and reassess. If let's say really Palmer is the one, I'll go for him. If TA is the one, I'll go for him. I think those are the transfer I'm thinking.
Do you feel that Semenyo could score against Arsenal?
He could potentially be, because he already proved against Liverpool, even though on the offside position. But I think Luis Diaz is better to play at Chelsea. They will miss those two players, Cucurella and Fofana, and Chelsea might be susceptible to that.
Yep. And captaincy on Haaland, right? Yep.
For sure.
Okay. All right.
Let's go to your team. 0.1 million in the bank, one free transfer, me. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so Henderson, TA, Davis, Gabriel. Davis is my transfer from last week, so I'm now committed to having him, and because for this run, because I want to see how he can do. Rodgers, Salah, McNeil, and Trossard. Yes, my captaincy is currently on Salah on the pure basis of those two defenders not being available, but honestly, it's hard to keep him with Haaland also looking to trash Wolves, and he hasn't scored for 2 weeks now, so you think that against Wolves that he'll return with a bang. Then you have Watkins and Nketiah, so it's a bit tough in terms of the bench because I put Robinson on the bench. I have been on the wrong decision of some Robinson benchings before. So the thing is, with Nketiah, this might be his last chance salon for me, so I want to still play him. I am a bit worried about Watkins and to a lesser extent Rogers. Rogers I don't mind because he's only 5.1, but Watkins for the investment, I'm a bit worried against Fulham's defense. Fulham have been quite good in defense, so but I have to decide whether Watkins' quality should help to overcome it. And the thing is, Watkins is unlikely to play 90 minutes flat now, bearing in mind that Villa also have Champions League to worry about.
Yep.
So I'm a bit worried, and I'm looking at the possible Watkins to Solanke. Although Spurs also play in Europe, but then I talked a bit about Solanke, how well Solanke will in the current setup is going to do really well, but I'm not sure whether it's enough to actually make that transfer. Other than that, I don't have any real pressing matters. I'm committed to Trossard as well, my other transfer. So he didn't do any long distance traveling, so I do expect him to start. If he doesn't, then I'm gonna go travel over to Emirates. Tell Arteta, give Arteta a piece of my mind, but other than that, that's it. So it really is a dilemma in terms of whether or not I sell Watkins for Solanke and whether I still bench Robinson or give up on Nketiah and play Robinson.
If you ask me personally, I do think you're going to wildcard next week, right? I mean, hold your transfer, bear with this team. After international break, anything can happen in terms of player fitness and so on, and just concentrate the wildcard next week, and you have 2 free transfer in the bank, carry forward, which is really nice, and then assess your team.
See, that's the thing. I'm not committed to a game week 9 wildcard now. So it's hard. So it's hard. It's hard, because if I wildcard, I think one of the players I'd want to bring in is Palmer, and I don't think to next week. But again, let's see how this game week goes. Yeah. If Palmer does haul against Liverpool, then then that wildcard looks inevitable. Yeah,
I can't imagine another big haul from Palmer, regardless who the opponent is this week, especially against Liverpool. It means that he's fixture proof. From that 50% own, tiba-tiba terus lompat jadi 70% next week. I think that what can happen.
And if Palmer is the one who scores, and because all of us will be captaining Haaland most likely, those of us who also have Palmer could see a quite a good rank rise. If Palmer hauls against Liverpool.
Yeah, I think that's what my plan is. See what the Liverpool Chelsea, what more new information that we can take from that game. It could be, let's say, Liverpool wins 1-0 and keep a clean sheet, and TA out of nowhere produce that a nice free kick, right, man? They will actually produce against England. I can see that narrative will be different next week.
Yeah, okay, definitely. I'm worried. Let's see Sunday.
All right. Before we wrap up, man, in terms of our FPL Jedi League, just take a look. Our league leader for now, Kirin FC. Fakran Shakirin, he is a Man City fans. So his team on the right side, as you can see, he's got 78 points, 78 points there. We can see the likes of Flecken, and then he has Konza, TAA, and Face. Nice, 6 points. Leicester keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth. You mentioned that he actually did Captain Saka, man. So he got that 30 points from Saka. Well done to Fakran. Mbomo 8 points. McNeil, he got 2 points. He also have Palmer. Oh, you can see there. Premium Saka, Palmer. And then he has Hafiz up front and also Haaland. Despite his cheap bench in the mode of Harwood Bellis and non-playing 4.5 Spurs player, I suppose. He still have Robinson as his, I think, as a rotation between Konza and Face, which is nice. So, what do you think, man, about his team?
I think it's great, but the caveat is that um I would look at Teo Ice more closely because Kirin FC in game week I checked game week 2 he triple captained and game
Okay.
week 3 he wild carded.
All right.
Teo Ice has not used any chip based on what I can see. He has not
All right.
used any chip. He has not used any the wild card. So he looks like he's in a better position
He's a
actually.
better position. Okay.
Yeah, and a good opportunity to use chips to propel himself when he's ready. So yeah, be
But,
interesting.
but I think nevertheless, you definitely still take it. For Kirin FC, we can see premium already set for his team.
Of
He still
course,
have
it's good,
TAA,
bro.
so means that it's still you can still have decent team, but there is no Arsenal backline, which is still fine. I suppose he has TA. So
No Gabriel. Interesting.
Mhm. So if let's say you walk up to this team, you can have Palmer, Saka, Havertz, you have Bomo and McNeil in midfield, which is nice, and Haaland up front, TA at the back.
But I want my Salah.
Alright.
Yeah. I mean, look, but I keep talking about Salah, so it is really an ongoing assessment whether or not he's still worth the money. Yeah, under slot. Yeah, it's still a big question mark for me. So we'll see.
All right, just to give shout out for the next top 10 teams in the FPL Jedi League, TOIs at second place, Dog Dang FC, Qme at third, also jump in rank, fourth, Sugus Riang Ria. We have the real champion, Bro Hafiz, wow, same like my name, at fifth place. Force continue to perform Helmi Johari despite his rank drop a bit in game week 7. Jelebu FC, Faizal Nasir, Rose Gold at 8th place now, Abang E, and coming into the top 10, Subah, Amirul Hanif. So those are the teams. Give shout out to you guys.
Just one more shout out to Afosz, who's at 12 as well.
Wow.
So looking to push back into the top 10 as well. So good luck. Me, I've dropped to 44 or something. So yeah, a bit far off.
All right. Don't mention about my team also. All right. Let's go to the game week 8 deadline, man. We know the time is coming nearer, although we still have time at 6 p.m. Malaysian time. And for all who actually watch our stream, we do thanks for the support. Do hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel. So your last word, man.
The last words. What are my last words? So I myself am going to be quite busy before the deadline, so it's unlikely I'll be able to scroll and check the news and stuff. But for those who can, especially those who are looking to bring in a Spurs player, but there's not much doubts lah with Spurs. But
Yeah.
but it is but
We have
so,
a team league team news, right, for Spurs because they are playing
yeah.
early, right?
But again, let's remember that West Ham have shown signs of improvement, and it is a
Yep.
London derby. So
Last
anything
week
could
they won
happen.
4-1 against Ipswich, if I'm right.
Yeah, it's a good boost to their morals. But let's see. So all the best and be rational with your transfers, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Good luck, guys, in whatever you do. Trust your guts and do let Allah do the rest. So take care and have a good week. Bye.
Bye. Assalamualaikum.